Dear Venerable Sisters, Dhamma friends, today too we are going to start the question and answer session. As usual, we'll start with the written questions and see possibilities to look into the other questions arising as time permits. So we'll invite Ananda to start the session with presenting already written questions, please.
Thank you, Venerable Bhante. Before the questions, there are very short announcements. May I please?
Yes, please.
First one is the organizers. Actually, I was asked to do this yesterday, but sorry, Amita. Just to let everyone know that the organizers are very happy the way all the yogis are pitching in with the work. And it's from Ramani and Amita and all the organizers. And so to extend you a very big thank you. So thank you on behalf of the organizers for joining in and doing all the work in a very peaceful, happy and calm manner. Thank you. And the second one is yesterday at the end, there was a request from a yogi that how good it would be if the stanzas that the Venerable Bhante is chanting at the end to pass blessings, if we can put it on the board. But I told him that they are in this book. So this is the book. It's in the box just outside the door. You are very welcome. In fact, it's good for you to take. It's on page 36 and page 37. The English meaning is there, page 36 and 37. They are not to be taken away from this place, but it's for your use. So please feel free to use it, specifically page 36, 37, but the whole book is a gem. So it's at your disposal. And Bhante, there are altogether 10 questions today, and with the one that we couldn't go through yesterday, so altogether 11. So I will first start from yesterday's question.
Yes, please.
Thank you. Venerable Sir, posture, sitting. Primary object, Anapanasati, in and out breath. Thank you for the Dhamma talk. I want to tell you that the Dhamma talk today, really yesterday this was, I want to tell you that the Dhamma talk yesterday seemed specifically for me. I have gone to the place within inverted commas. I have gone to the place. You described many times, but did not realize what it was. This time I wanted to investigate this place at this retreat and stayed with it. It took me more than 2 hours meditation. Sorry, I think no. I wanted to investigate this place and stayed with the meditation. It took me more than 2 hours. I felt that I was going into this place with no wills, but going automatically. I felt as if I was totally free and felt a great sense of relief, as if I had dropped all burdens. Could you please advise accordingly regarding the necessary guidance? Thank you.
The state and the place is not much clearly mentioned, so I have to presume. Example I can give is, if you consider a pendulum, as far as it is pushing, it's swing. And when it goes to the end, it appears like the speed is reducing, but again it catches the momentum, go to the other end, again the speed is reducing, but the moment you stop giving the kick, ultimately pendulum is resting exactly at the center. That is the point, it is moving very fast. You never think this is the equilibrium point. You never think this is the harmonious point. As far as you are disturbing it, it moves. It moves more swiftly at the center. Whenever you give disturbances or any winding or whatever may be, it rests there. So In meditation what we do is, we are in a de-learning process and unlearning process, deconstruction. Ultimately the natural equilibrium, natural harmonious point will appear as far as you are not disturbing. So it is in the swing. When we as children we used to use the swing, and when it is moving, so much so you have to push it. But imagine when you are nearing the center without any kind of external distraction, and close your eyes. And swing is swinging, and your mind also swinging. Sometimes even the swing is stopped. Mind can't verify whether it is swinging or it is rotating this way or that way, because it takes long time for mind to be seasoned. So let the swing stop by itself, close your eyes and understand. Even the physical swing stops, how much mind is carried this further into. Likewise that understanding the swing or pendulum, our main thing is just stop. That specifically stop the willful action, still the volitional action. And then you can see, moment you understand this art, all the other actions also naturally come to the center. It is the pivot of the seesaw. So when you sit on the pivot, you can feel the wave, but with the least amount of infliction, least amount of irritation. But you can see children are very happy to sit in the furthest end. We are more than children. We are more than children. We need go-go show. So when you go-go, ultimately you burn the candle from both the ends, but it is not burning for your profit. So in a retreat, we just little calm down. I don't know how much this we can apply at our household life and in the workplace, but at least we can see there's a possibility. We have tried. Whenever the conducive conditions are there, there's a kind of a calming down. May not be the absolute, but feel it is, potential is there, possibility is there. You can do so. If it is peaceful, if it is not inflicting, it is not much with tension and the frustration, you have to assimilate the ways and means to calm down, come to the center.
Thank you, Bhante. Just like previous days, we will start with the walking meditation questions. Dear Bhante, I notice when I do walking meditation and watching my steps, I can experience calm, peace, joy, and know the sensations at my feet, the steps and lifting and lowering of my feet. But still, there still be background thoughts, stories, thinking going on. I am amazed that I can feel alert and mindful, and yet the thinking at the same time! ! So I extend my mindfulness to my detailed movements of the feet, and the thoughts decrease. Am I pushing the thoughts away and being controlling? Is it better that I allow the thoughts to be at the background and don't try to get rid of them? That's the question. Continues. Does everyone feel this way, i.e. feeling happy and mindful and at the object, but then actually thinking uncontrollably at the background? Thank you, gratitude.
Yeah, the early part of the essay is clear, but to the latter it is a little bit confused. So when and where you learn the mindfulness is single, steadfast, permanent object, which is the way we start as a beginner. And whenever that is familiarized, you are about to see the background, the backdrop. It's also changing. Sounds, pain, thoughts, they come and go. At the beginning you consider it as a nuisance or distraction. But if you are sharp enough, adverted enough, you can see they are not really disturbing. Still you can keep the track with the your primary object, so to say, right leg, left leg. And later, so much so you familiarize, you can see it is not a sound, it is not a pain, it's a thought. My primary object is left and the right and thought. So you can specific. And later, you can see the content of the thoughts also. Still, you can maintain attention with the primary object, and so they are now side by side or one upon the other. So this is the way your vision will be wider and wider. So you can do three things. You can either let the primary object to be prominent and the thought to let be background thoughts, inert thoughts. For that you have to see details, shape, the manner of the primary object, so much so thoughts become inert, more and more background. Or you can see both. You know this is your refuge, this is your solace, this is your oasis, but thoughts are there. Or you can look into the thoughts and then you can see the left and right become vague, it is pushed off, and you can be with thoughts. Likewise, you gain certain amount of maneuverability. It's a hilarious thing, it is an adventurous thing. Thought is a nuisance, never mind. If you wish, let the thought to happen and then primary object to become secondary. So when this happens, you understand not only two objects, primary object and the second, you can see it. Primary object and two objects. Primary object with three objects. I don't know whether you have seen the people playing with throwing.
Juggling balls.
Juggling. So we can do jugglery. We can take one throw and then catch it, and then two, and then three. You can put it here and put it here. So you never understand the capacity of your mind. You are so stereotyped. You are so narrow-minded. So it is good. It's good at the beginning. You have to be. It's a kind of a restraint. But when it's happening, it's unbelievable. There's one story. It goes like this. During the time of the Buddha, the Venerable Moggallana was the best person. He can do all the juggleries of the mind because it's mastery. So there was a snake, you can say a dragon, something like so full of extrasensory powers. So it's disturbing monks. No one can overcome it because it can do so much of changes, theoretically speaking. At a time it can be absorbed into the air element and make cyclones. Next moment he can go to the water element and make a rain. And then next moment heat element and volcanic and heat, all the kind of change very quickly. So appear like full of mystic powers. So Venerable Moggallana goes there and he do retaliation because he also can do like this. So when he come back, the Nandopananda Naga, and then the Buddha is just asking, how come that happened? Because that the dragon, the Naga, is so powerful. Then Venerable Moggallana is explaining, anyone who wish to change from the water element to the air element, or air element to the earth element, whatever may be, it has to come back to the fourth jhana and then go to the other end. And again, if you wish to change, is to come back to the fourth jhana and go there. But Venerable Moggallana can jump from one element to the other. So it's a specialized job. So therefore, if you start your meditative life at the early 1/3 of your life, balance will be for experimenting. Sorry, many people are coming to meditation. They don't have time, because that by the time happens, they have to say bye-bye, tata, go. So that's why we started Satipasala, giving this for the young children, and they are playing like hell. You won't believe that you have to give the message. To be specific, I am telling, and asking every facilitator, every trainer, don't give anything, just give mindfulness, only mindfulness. And they add what they wish. And they come out with and do, and ultimately it becomes a problem for their parents. But they are so sharp and pointing out their parents' mistakes. And they become a kind of a situation at the classroom, because teacher not mindful and that child is mindful, directly they show it. I mean, they have no hesitation. Mindfulness is such a powerful weapon. So start as early as possible and let the mindful run. It will never do harm. The always doing benevolent thing and no end. It's such a thing, and because mindfulness knows how to use the other, your characteristic or your potential or your possibilities each other they do not know. They are fighting always. So whenever the mindfulness take the arrowhead, everything comes. And you feel like do more and more, multitasking, still you know the priority. You can take care about the priority, follow, the rest follow suit. So therefore, this is a kind of a thing we have to thank for the sharing and continue, but daily, still, at the beginning, behave like a beginner's mind. Don't try these acrobats at the start. Start as a beginner, and when the time up, you must understand. Now it is time for acrobats and jugglery and all the kind of thing. So this, I don't, and there's no clue to say it is limited to the males or females or elderly or old age, ordained or non-ordained, and Buddhist or non-Buddhist. That's a disturbing thing. If you introduce properly, one thing at a time and that done well kind of thing, you are giving a catalytic effect for all the good thing to come in. And earlier, about maybe 10 years ago, everyone accepted mindfulness when it's developed. There's no side effects and there is no after effects. But now, very vigilantly people making complaint, with mindfulness you can do bad. You can use it for warfare. You can do this and that. So it is nowadays, there's a storm. Whether mindfulness is all benevolent or can that be used for other kind of thing. So they have to wait and see. But only thing we can do, we can say it's opening more than any other mental concomitant, more than any of your characteristics. Mindfulness is open the windows, open the opportunity, so the clear comprehension can come and take the advantage for the, I would say it is a hobby-like life. It is always you are not in a regimentation, you are not in a difficulty, see possibilities. So please continue to your day-to-day activities and your multitasking life.
Bhante, the next question is on both walking and sitting meditation, divided into two parts. Most Venerable Bhante, my posture is walking and the primary object of meditation is tactile sensation of feet on the floor. Sometimes my mind gets distracted with thoughts. Majority of these times my mind comes back to the primary object after being engaged with the distraction for a bit of time. Other times I recognize the thought appearing and labels, within brackets, here it comes. Then my mind goes back to the primary object. Generally I notice the details, not a lot though, of the sensation. If I go slowly, I notice details such as weight shifting. My questions are, will it be helpful to start counting the steps as a way to improve mindfulness? I tried this. I can count while noticing the details. My concern is whether counting and noticing details will split the attention. Is it better to start counting after being distracted and keep on doing counting for a while, then go back to noticing details only? Is it a bad idea to label a thought as it comes, here it comes?
So two issues, one thing of the thought and the other thing is the main object. As far as you are avenuing your attention with the primary object is concerned, the counting will be very preliminary kind of a technique. Once it is avenued, one is face to face, then you can go into detail. And even then, the counting consider only when the thoughts are distracting, not when the pain and the sounds. I don't know the reasoning behind. And Venerable Paokside only told, you have usually sound, thoughts and pain. Whenever the thoughts are distracting, you can use this counting technique. And that is to take the object in face to face with, in avenue with. Once that happens only, whenever the time permits, you can go into detail. And the thoughts also, you can note it, no problem. And one thing, I don't know whether it will be confusing, whether you are in a thought or whether you are in the primary object, exactly the same results if you are not distracted, if you are not worried, if you are not, if you are confident enough. Primary object is necessary till you develop certain amount of mindfulness, then all objects are the same. So you have to ready. Sounds can come, pain can happen, the thoughts can happen, primary object can happen. Then whenever you are to see the system as such, primary object become yet another object. So what is the threshold? Where you are to consider everything together is a question, because everything is energy. You call this energy as rising, left leg, right leg, this energy as the thought, this energy as a pain, this energy as a sound. Everything is energy. So whenever you see the system as such, you only give different labels. So their primary object is good as far as you are restraining and getting the mind into the calm down situation. Once it come up to a certain level, all the objects, nothing but energy, different manifestation. To understand that, you have to let everything to happen. The example given is that the potter make raw clay and he make different utensils. Everything is nothing but clay. Once broken, come back to the clay. Imagine clay without manifested as a vessel, just keep clay as clay. So that is what we try to do. Don't let the mind to label it. This is primary object, this is thought, this is sound, this is pain. That is very advanced level. Everything happening in a flux, happening in a move, flow. You just look at it without label, because your labeling is your upbringing. Labeling is your liking and disliking. Labeling is your personality trait. That's what you attribute, then only storytelling starts. Then only proliferation starts. Then only fabrication starts. So to see everything is nothing but clay, just give the equal weight to the thought, primary object, sound, pain, everything. So that is the point where I become utterly equanimous, utterly indifference, utterly equanimity, and unwavering mind, undecided mind. But it's very difficult because our mind is so quickly put a label, get a perception or cognition or recognition. This cognition aspect is we feel like a natural gift, but that is the root cause or source for this fabrication, for this storytelling, for this papancha, for this mental proliferation. So day you become mature, you find everything is nothing but suffering. Why should I give a label? Let them be in its original grounds. Ultimately you can see everything is nothing but energy. And that is the point the mystics and science separate. So scientists never accepted that till Einstein came and presented this quantum theory and came out with the E is equal to mc square, energy and the mass. He found the relationship. Till that energy was different and the collapsed mass or matter or particle is different. But whenever the Einstein came out with, ultimately Einstein confessed this bloody theory made me confused. It's better if I had not discovered that quantum theory. But it was not a problem for Buddha. Buddha was very confirm, and he asked people to not to look at from the collapsed particle view, but keep reservation. The particle can be energy. Energy can be particle. That shift is one of the way explaining cause and effect relationship. Matter become matter, non-material, and non-material become a matter. Who decides? Only the cause and effect. So you have to understand thought may be exactly energy collapse in separate way, and the rising and falling, or left leg and right leg, or sound, thought, everything is nothing but the manifestation of energy. Just let the flux to be there, system to be there. Don't go partial, don't go for labeling, don't go for fabrication, and just look at it. The moment you see everything as energy, you also become just energy and merge with the universal energy. No egocentrism can happen. As far as you appoint them as this is thought, this is left leg, right leg, so much so you appoint yourself, your egocentrism come into being. So let that happen and take this as the peak of your experience. Don't label them. Of course, at the beginning, labeling is the way to develop mindfulness. At the end, you have to throw away the pole and jump into the other side. You have to do away with labeling. That means you are not cognizing or recognizing. No egocentrism happen. Things change from one to the other. Who cares?
The second part, Bhante. My posture is sitting and the primary object is in and out breath. Falling asleep during meditation happens a lot. I have been reflecting on what Venerable Bhante said about go prepared. So I was wondering whether one strategy could be, when the breath gets finer, start noticing the beginning, middle and the end, so that mind can be kept alerted.
So this is one thing is go detail into the breath, and you can see in the Satipatthana Sutta, the Buddha in the first tetrad, he says, be aware of the in-breath and out-breath. Sato asasati, sato pasasati, if you are familiar with the Pali. And then he says, digangva asasanto, digangva asasamiti pajanati. When the long in-breath happens, I know. And long out-breath, I know. And then If you are successful, Buddha never explained what is the success and what is the methodology. Then he says, the short in-breath and short out-breath. You know. And then, Passambayang kaya sankarang. You calming down the breath. And then only you are being asked to see Sabbha kaya patisanvedi, the total wave of the breath, or total breath body. So first you have to calm down, then only you can see the beginning, the middle and the end. So the four in the first tetrad is aligned in a scientific way, in a kind of a methodological way. First calm down. After calming down only you can study. You can do operation once the patient is anesthetized, not before. Imagine if your patient is a tiger or a wild elephant. Anesthetize first. Otherwise the patient can go against the operation. So this is what happened if you put the cart before the horse. So this process, let the breath calm down, and then you have to understand the danger of sleepiness is there. So you have to vigilant, you have to be diligent, and you have to see detail. Where is the starting point of the in-breath? How it is changing, and where it is ceases to exist. And try to see from nothing, the breath starts, in-breath start, and then breath dissolve into nothingness. This is kind of a tricky points. These are the points indicate how much you are mindful. So whenever you try to gaze, when you try to peep into, when you try to keep that very closely, vigilantly, diligently, that is the opposite of sleepiness. So preparedness is understanding the danger of sleepiness, and tools you must be ready. So whenever these two happen, of course it is not you, it's a kind of a Dhamma, kind of a phenomena happens. So you are the first person, immediate person to understand, now I can see through, I can go through, and later you may assimilate number of other ways and means.
The third question is, Bhante, Venerable Bhante mentioned 3 stages of mindfulness from the book on power of mindfulness. They are bare mindfulness,
bare attention.
Okay, bare attention, sustained mindfulness, steadfast mindfulness. Please forgive me if I have used incorrect terms. Does each stage refers to how much details is observing, or to the extent has easily one can get distracted. I'll read it again, sorry. Does each stage refers to how much details one is observing, or to the extent how easily one can get distracted?
No, that sentence is wrong. Anyway, best you read that book. It's a very simple book. And the terms are wrong. And if you wish to have a larger picture, the complete picture, take the 37 factors of enlightenment. There you can see 8 types of mindfulness. And whenever Jnanaponika put still a basic one, they are bare attention. So many ways are there. It depends on your personality trait. Some people happy with the 3 grades, some people can be with the 9. And there you understand how much Venerable Jnanaponika was keen in 50 years ago. And that is the best book I find in the Buddhist Publication Society. So much so, there are 3 Sinhala translations. Sihiya Balamai Thatimat Bhava Ati Balava Sampannai. Many people. So still I thought of translating again. I gave the 4th translation. They told it is not Jnanaponika, it is Dhammajiva. I told I have my rights because this is 50% of my monk's life of this book. So I have to. Then they told that it's not a translation, it's a review or something. I told, whatever you put the name, this is what I can do. When we did it as a team in New Jersey, about 5 people, taking 3 Sinhala copies, 1 English copy, and our experience, and it was like a seminar. I admire being a German person, and given such a start, such a clarity, and the Buddhist world still failed to understand such simplicity. You can download it. If you visit Buddhist Publication Society website, it's you can download it. The book also very small, thin book, Power of Mindfulness by Venerable Nyanaponika. The other theories he put into it with his skill, how to write a book and how to write an essay and how to continue the flow. Very, very valuable book. And the Bhante Gunaratana's Mindfulness in Simple English, it's also very good. But for me, I find that it's completely new way of definition, way of relating everything by Venerable Nyanaponika. And please read the book, so you will brush up and you will be more refined.
What is the name of your translation, Bhante? Sinhala translation?
I don't know whether they will come out, but still I have given the script. I like to name exactly like Sihe Balamahime.
Next question. Dear Bhante, posture sitting, primary object breathing. In a good session, I experience the breathing as soft, not too sharp, deep, gentle, and I can stay with the breathing with random thoughts or sounds from time to time. I don't really note it. I just know without adding extra labeling. My mental experience is stillness and joy, but bodily experience, I have some pain. The pain usually subsides if my mind is still. My concern is, I notice I still associate success or good meditation when my pain is less or disappeared, and I have few wandering thoughts. And when I have pain or thoughts, I am not happy and feel like a failure. My mind would want to figure out what I did wrong, and wondering and worrying, what if I get too old to practice with more pain the older I get. Then I get worried about wasting my human rebirth and the precious opportunity to practice the Dhamma. All these are much more subtle than it sounds on paper. Sometimes I simply experience these fear and judgment as a mild depression, and worry and doesn't affect my life too much, except secretly think I am a failure. Any advice, except telling me for being silly and go back to my breathing when worries and judgments occur? Is it always to ignore, think positive and go back to breathing? Thank you with big gratitude.
No, I have a very, very positive and very obvious answer. Please die in this life and come into the Satipasala in the next life. So tomorrow I will show you, at the age of 7, we accept Satipasala. So you have basic qualifications and you have enough worries. So next time you come, you have something. So it is, don't worry about the breath, don't worry about the mindfulness, nothing. Come to the Satipasala. Satipasala means mindful school. And when you come there, you must be age 7. No worries. So we have enough vacancies. So don't worry, don't worry. We have the answer. Yes.
Thank you, Bhante. Next one is also on sitting meditation. My posture is sitting. Dear Venerable Bhante, my posture is sitting. My primary object of meditation is Anapanasati, which is in and out breath. In a good session, I note and experience the object in 3 stages. 1. Know that I am breathing in. 2. Know that I am breathing out. 3. Know the beginning, middle and end of the in-breath and gap. Same for out-breath and the gap. Background. In the Anapanasati Sutta, the Buddha gives instructions, relocation of meditation, posture and breathing. 1. Breathing in knowing that you are breathing in. 2. Breathing out knowing that you are breathing out. 3. Breathing in and out of the whole breath. 4. Breathing in knowing the beginning, middle and noting the gap. Question 1. A basic question. When one breathes in and out the whole breath, this includes the beginning, middle and the end. The separation of the 3 segments as a separate instruction, is it designed to increase the focus and intensity of mindfulness, or is there any other reason?
The presentation is somewhat twisted. If you, as I referred, the long in-breath, short in-breath, the calming down the in-breath and out-breath, and then see beginning, the middle and the end. That's the way we can put it in Satipatthana Sutta as well as in the Anapanasati Sutta. What you have to, when you are calming down, you can see breath is not a single event. It's a chain of events. So that is to give that idea that within a breath, in-breath, there are 1001 tiny in-breaths. To give an opening for that, it says, see the beginning, the middle and end, like just 3 stages. Though you have to understand, breath is not a one single action, it's a series of action. Whenever there are things are calming down only, you can see, otherwise you recognize it as a one unit. But in this world, there's nothing called a unit, a person, a thing. Everything is destructible. Going deep and deep, ultimately it goes to nothingness. So Dalton, as a physicist in the West, he just wanted to see the smallest, tiniest particle. The atom, molecule to the atom and subatomic, and then the nucleus and all the kind of thing. Now when and where Einstein came and said that subatomic particles or tiny parts can make energy, then there is the boundary between the thing and nothing. Materiality and immaterial. That lost, so physics lost. So if you read the Tao of Physics by Fridge of Capra, he claims about 20 years ago, now what is the difference between chemistry and physics? What is the difference between biology and physics? Because the matter, the material part is the physics, but when it is merged into energy, where is the margin? So therefore generally you can say breath is it's a energy pattern, and there see beginning, the middle and the end, and it is not worth calling in-breath because it's 1001 particles of the in-breaths. So just to give a hint, it says the beginning, the middle and the end. So likewise, anything what you see, everything is nothing but agglomeration. When the agglomeration particles separated, the sum total of each particle is not the unit. Unit is something added, ego. Something added, conceit. Something added, desire or tanha. So if you remove the particles, it's completely different from when they come together. The sum total brings kind of a mystics. That's what the Buddha says, take a unit, and separate into particles and see each and every particle, where's the ego, where's the conceit, where's the desire? No. But when they come together, males like females, females like males, and all the likings and disliking, but the energy do not know male and female. Energy do not know age difference. So whenever you reduce into the tiniest, most particle, they now see the Hebron particle, that is the God particle, they say, to see immediately when the energy become matter, collapse into matter, first appearance is they call Hebron particle, then still they are searching to see the most tiniest piece possible. So the merge is in things and nothing. So that is, you see, you can imagine, if you wish to teach this kind of a thing in a university, how many teaching techniques and overhead projectors and screens and everything you need. But Buddha used only the 10 fingers. This is the maximum. He used no chalk, no blackboard, no other classrooms. Maximum he see different relationship when these two variables are mixed and connect with this thing, how it will be, and then how it will be. Like he has just used 10 fingers. So whenever you go inside or inwardly, you can understand the fabric, the behind the screen circuit, and then you can project into the outside. But the science is looking from the outside, never think inwardly, but the Buddha started inwardly and projected outside. So this is the difference. So therefore anything, your gems and any precious thing is not a unit. It can disintegrate. When disintegrated, the sum total value, the added thing is lost. The Buddha using is the vehicle. If you remove all the particles separate, Upanishads used to say even the Benz, the most advanced model, separate into each particle, ask a child to take something for a plaything, nothing to take even to as a plaything. It's odd shapes, smeared with grease and oil and awful. And when you put everything together, it is good for your wedding trip and give a gift and kind of thing. Exactly our body. Once removed, 32 dirty things. When put together, Michael Jackson and hugging, kissing and killing, committing suicide, all the kinds of when come together, that sum total makes something added. That is tanna mana ditti. Once you remove, it appears like you are killing, you are destroying it. You have no aesthetic idea. And that is why you are distorting it and dismantling it like that. But dismantling shows you each and every individual particle, they never claim tanha, they never claim mana, ditti or egocentrism or conceit or desire. So breath also you can do it to 3. You can divide into 3 million also. This is a hint.
Can I add a comment?
At the last, at the end of the written questions.
The second part of the question, Bhante, little bit unrelated, but in the same context as question 1, when one reads the English translation of the Pali text of the homage to the Dhamma, Swakkato Bhagavato, it is stated that the Dhamma is well expounded, beautifully in the beginning, beautifully in the middle, and beautifully in the end. In relation to Dhamma, what is the beginning, the middle, and the end? I thought that the Dhamma is all-pervasive. Thank you, Bhante, for your explanations with the blessings of the Noble Triple Gem.
So if you ask from the Burmese person, Sayadaw, he will say, Sila Sikha is the beginning, Samadhi Sikha is the middle, Panya Sikha is the end, or moral restraint, concentration restraint, and wisdom. So likewise, it's many ways you can put it in. If you can read that chapter in the Visuddhimagga, the Acharya Buddhaghosa is giving number of ways to call this is the beginning, this is the middle, this is the end. So this is to feed the theoretical, this is to give the theoretical answer or linear kind of answer, but you know it's a flux. It's yielding one to the other, it's continuous happening. So wherever you cut it according to your decision, but there is no such borders, boundaries, except this mind-made. Naturally there is no, but this is for the gradual teaching in the linear system.
Now, the next three questions are the posture is for the next two questions are working, and for the following one is eating. So this is on working and sitting. Dear Venerable Dhammajiva, my posture is working and sitting. My primary object of meditation is sweeping and mindfulness of present moment. My concern or the background to the question is, I am not doing two postures at the same time. I am just reporting two separate postures. I followed your advice of trying to incorporate work and try to notice the unmindful gaps. While sweeping, I can only notice when I am being mindful or when mindfulness jumps from one object, that is hand sweeping, to another, which is seeing, walking, etc. Unmindful moments were noticed only after they happen by recollecting. Example, I have not swept one part of the hall, so I do not know when I am unmindful. I only know that I was unmindful. Neither can I observe the beginning, middle, end of being mindful. Is noticing the consciousness jump from one to another the same as switching from one mindful moment to another? I guess that is the first part of the question.
That when you see something, you never see the blind spot. But that is the way mind is working, so always there's a blind spot, but you can't see. So likewise everywhere, but it somehow or the other camouflage, gloss over and appear like a unit. So likewise when you are doing something and recollect it, then again you can see some mistakes. For example, if you are writing an essay and later you can see some mistakes and you can correct it. Again read it, still there are. So likewise the recollection, or this called pachavekana, or look at it from the another person's point of view. The example given is the carpenter. When a carpenter wanted to have a very straight the plane, the sharpen and imagine the wooden pieces put together and they must be very straight. But in trees it is not the case. It is in the rough wood, it is not the case. Bumps are there. So he take and fix it and do planing and then look at from the one eye. Look at it from the different perspective. But if he says that I am the worker, so why should I should not have any mistakes. So if he is not critical about his own thing, he will never see with both the eyes it appear like plain. But if you look, you can see bumps. And then once you this plane off, and again you can see some other small things. So Venerable Jnanananda, in his writing, he says, the one I look at one's own job is something radical. You are critical about yourself, but it is not destructive. It's constructive. So when you do look back and see, there are some points. You had no intention to skip them, but it has happened. So you can understand whatever the expertise you have, there may be some blind spot. So another person come and point it out, but say thank you. But the mindfulness is the another person. It comes and says, because you look at yourself from the third person viewpoint, and it is very, very, very aesthetic. So look at this group, and then you can see and take a photo of the group and look at the photo. It's something different from the reality. Whatever the thing, if you take a photograph, it's different. So therefore, one of the best photographer, he told, while we were climbing down a mountain, he says, you see the mountain, but if you can stand and look through your legs, down, different. Very beautiful. Climb on top of the mountain and look through your legs. Everything upside down. It's beautiful. So this is the mindfulness. It gives a different perspective to your life, and you are not, it is not a destructive, it is not you are lowering yourself. You give an added value. And that is the simplicity, that is the innocence, that is the straightforwardness. And other part of it is the arrogance. You see, I have done, there cannot be any mistake. Don't try to criticize myself because I am the subject matter specialist. No one can correct you. So therefore, look at it again and again. That can happen when, specifically when you are doing multitasking. And there are a lot of things happening, so a lot of chances to me. That seeing this mistake is not a mistake. So very nice example is given by in the commentators. Monk running a monastery by the side of the road, and he wished to buy a bowl. And there is a person selling bowls, and going along the road he says that I need a bowl. Then he show all the bowls, and then he select one, and then ask the price, and then compromise. He'll say $100. And then, okay, now it's a bowl is decided, price is decided. The monk, before paying the price, he check all the weldings and everything, then he find a hole. He says, this is the type, I need it. But you see, there is a hole there. He says, okay. Okay, pay 90, that's enough. And still he is going there and find another hole, 2. He says, okay, still reduce. And then find another one, 3rd. And then as far as he has not done the transaction, each and every hole is for the benefit of the monk. If you paid money, you can't return goods once you paid. So as far as you are not decided, all the mistakes are for your benefit. So therefore, look into the same thing again and again. It is not wasting of time. It is not negative. It is not self-critical. This is the way the Buddha and your best friend, your true noble friend can do it for you. Because other people, if they are going to do, you will be angry. Your spiritual master can say, oh, yourself can look. Oh, mindfulness is ever doing is free of charge. Whenever you develop the mindfulness, even later, it reminds you, you accept it. So therefore, look back and see your own thing is a kind of, the Buddha considers as a reflection. Reflect back. So opposite of is the arrogance. This reflection is called innocence. It's called simplicity. And opposite of arrogance. So therefore, multitasking is not punishment. Multitasking is not a thing to worry. Put into multitasking and see your weaknesses, but don't start mindfulness there. Start mindfulness as a simple task. And slowly, when it is increasing, when you are doing multitasking, it shows the possibilities and potentials and the neuron connections, that is called neurobics, also can happen, and your own mistakes you can accept. So you develop a kind of a character, you can sympathize others' mistakes. Because you see, whatever the thing you do, there may be some, so why not other person? So you will never be bossy, you will never be arrogant, the sympathy may come in.
Number 2, during sitting session, I no longer hear the thong sound. There was a question indicating this sound yesterday. It has turned into a dash sound with subsequent gentler inner jerk. I am using those occurrences whenever it happened to observe the mindful gaps, of which I am still unable to. However, I do notice that after each jerk, the intensity of the mindfulness isn't the same. I don't know how to describe it. It's sort of like a fog or a mist that slowly whirled and become clearer and stronger. Outside of those jerking moments, I still cannot observe the beginning, middle, end of mindfulness. My question is, if you said all phenomena are the same, i.e., if you can see the beginning, middle, end of one, example, rising and falling, then you can see the others. Why is it not applicable to this case? I am starting to doubt whether I am actually seeing or making it up in my mind. I keep checking whether I am still able to see the broken movement when lifting hands, walking, etc. When I can still see them, i.e. the stitches of broken movements, each stitch is composed of beginning, middle and end. The beginning always move like a pendulum at the start, regarding moving back a little. The mind then starts doubting what is wrong, but there was the question above. Why is it not applicable to this case? Probably, may I stop at that or continue?
No, they're not presented. There maybe have something to be presented, but these words are not presenting it. This beginning, the middle and the end is the way of presenting sankhara, sabbe sankhara dukkha, that you would have heard. Each and every sankhara, the intrinsic characteristic is it has its own independent beginning and then changing and the disappearance. So this is the nature. This is the nature of anything. So they are suffering. Because it's changing, it's suffering. Sabbe sankhara dukkha. So you can't completely understand the whole cosmic sankhara. So you take one thing and understand its beginning, the middle and the end. And you see how difficult. Mind is never happy to see it, because seeing the beginning, the middle and the end in itself is suffering. So you must have a faith to see it, and then you can understand this holographic phenomena. If you see one particle, that represents the total picture. And therefore, whenever you make your other, make your one thing under your very nose, it is called paccakka siddha, under your very nose, and then deductive way, and in the rational way you can see. That is come under not the direct touch, but with the inferential knowledge. But even then, there's a one part, the sundry items you can't explain. So therefore 3 siddhas. Siddhas means to verify something. Paccakka siddha, anumana siddha, saddhya siddha. Paccakka siddha is your primary object. And the balance with anumana, that is inferential or rational, even then you don't know after the death there is a birth. You don't know still each and every action has a reaction. So they are still at the peripheral level. Once you prove about 95%, you accept them, you take into grant. So there are 3 siddhas. In Vipassana meditation is emphasizing on the paccakka siddha, under your very nose, verifiable thing. And later, whenever you become inquisitive, you will ever look at the phenomena not as a liking and disliking. You try to see the beginning, the middle and the end. So much so you are not carried away by the phenomena. Everything is nothing but the beginning, the middle and the end. And therefore, this is not better, this is not good, this is better, this is good, no difference. Because you are looking to see its sankhara nature. It's rising and passing away, so you are on the way. You have enough time Keep on practicing. While practicing, you will fill the gap.
Why can't I notice for the mindfulness? The same I also check it with the rising and falling. It fall gradually in stages and stuck towards the spine. And don't rise for a long time, but still observable. So why is it I am having a hard time noticing the mindful and unmindful moments? I think probably it's a continuation of the sentence. So why is it I am having a hard time noticing the mindful and unmindful moments? Also, after 1 hour of session, I felt tension in my left abdomen. Thank you, Bhante, with metta and gratitude. Venerable Ajita.
The I is the culprit. I never happy to see the truth. So whenever I come forward, that all the sentences are start with I. So you are utterly asking for a trouble. Just the observation to take place. Why can't I? Because I is the one with the phobia to see the truth. Because whenever you see the truth, I will be dissolved. So therefore it says, whenever someone really understands the game, that means once become Arahant, that's the biggest achievement on the earth. But in this asana, there had been so much of Arahants, no one throw a party. Because I is not there. When you achieved, you are no more. So this is the biggest disappointment on the earth. So have an appointment with this disappointment. I is the culprit. Don't allow you to do, because always rationalizing and going for linear system, never allow the truth to happen. So whenever you start the sentence with I am not telling you are a criminal, you are doing mistake. This is the way. I is the one have phobia, fear to see the truth. So therefore, whenever I come forward and there's no justice, the whole court is to the Mara or to the defilement. So just let it happen. That is why I say after training, everything must happen in the effortless way. Then there is the chance for the Dhamma to arise. As far as the doer is there, as far as I is there, as far as I expect something, as far as I with the result oriented, it is just supply and demand theory. You are better to be an accountant or economist rather than a yogi. So later you may understand, when you keep on practicing, the momentum will take without the ego. So that is the point we are telling, that let the breath to happen naturally, observation happen as a habitual way. You do walking without any effort. So at the beginning you do it, and when it is happening, there are chances there, the truth to arise. So we don't let the I to go off so much so we are making a turbulent. There is no unturbulent flow. So one day, the day you lose your result-oriented approach, things may happen.
Bhante, I read this question a couple of times. It is also on working, but it's purely on working as in a profession. But there is a subtle connection to mindfulness. May I read it?
Yes.
Dear Bhante, my posture is working. My primary object, I need help to find my primary object. Background, Bhante, my professional job is to manipulate people's muscles. Question 1. I am new to everyday mindfulness. Can you please suggest what should be my primary object when manipulating people's muscles?
Your touch, your fingertips.
For example, would it be the sensations in my hands as they connect to the texture, softness, hardness of the person's body? That is what I normally do. Also, I am mindful of my seeing. For example, watching the people breathe to indicate if they are feeling pain?
So their additional criterion or phenomena, if you are a professional massager, there cannot be any pain. Everything must be very smooth. So whenever you give additional pain, additional pressure, the patient is feel it in an irritating way. That means you are not yet professional. Not that you are looking is not necessary. Be aware, because if the patient is telling you, no problem. Otherwise you have to observe it. But your basic professional thing is the fingertip. They are tentacles. Whatever it touches, indicate and keep the profession, keep the track of mindfulness.
Question 2. Often when I manipulate people's muscles, they will remember traumatic events in their lives. This often brings a crying. I am very interested to know your view on the interplay between the body and mind. Does mindfulness of the body heal trauma? Blessings.
It depends. If you are a professional, the person relax. Person will settle down because you are not giving any pain. So then there is a chances for the catharsis to take place, and just like healing. So whenever the pendulum is not moving, when it's resting at the middle, then all the cleansing and catharsis and everything happen. So massaging is not the only thing for that, but massaging also a possible way, and by touching, by healing, you can help others. So I find the danger is, if you are a male and massaging a female, and if the female is going to cry, you will marry her. You are marrying a psychopath. So all the healers have that danger. Each success is a failure. So when the Sigmund Freud, he says, at the end of the psychotherapy, there is no natural death. Either the patient has to be a psychotherapist, there is no end, because what is the definition for day-to-day unsatisfactoriness? No one can define. So we have to stop your healing. So therefore, when such a thing happens, you can learn a lot. Instead of you are massaging your muscles, if you go to do it, it is not the way to Nibbana. But it's halfway through, you can learn a lot. But it never leads to the patient or you leading to Nibbana. So as far as the mindfulness going up to the Indriya and Bala, still you can use it in physical and worldly matters. But when you go further into the Bojjhanga level, you understand it is sensitivity or amplification, you are refining further and further. And if it is leading to your emancipation, then it is cumulative effect is there. Otherwise, there is a lot of complications can happen. So, I am not professional enough to make statements like that, but this kind of external object, whenever comes, your orientation, your mentality may be outwardly rather than inwardly. So keep the track with your body. That is to keep all the 6 animals tight into the body posture, rather than the outside object. Whenever it is outside object, it is called extrovert or centrifugal, centripetus rather than centrifugal. So whenever something rotating, centrifugal, centripetus, both happens. So if it is outwardly, no end. So if you mind your own business when you are massaging, and if you keep the touchy sensation of your fingertips, whether you are massaging or whether you are gardening or whatever may be, exactly the same thing. You end at the fingertip. Never go beyond to the other party. Whenever you go there, you are going to the endless situation. So professionally it's okay, but you have to understand the limitations over there.
This is on eating, Bhante. Dear Venerable Sir, my posture is eating. My primary object is present moment awareness. In a good session, I very rarely have a good session.
That means foods are too much, too good.
Most of the time, I find it very difficult to remain mindful while eating. Even if during the sit before lunch, I was able to stay mindful of the breath quite well, and the mind became peaceful. When I change to eating, mind goes all over the place thinking, not even just about the food, but all sorts of other random thoughts. Why does this happen? Why does the momentum of mindfulness during sitting disappear so quickly? Do you have any tips for how to maintain mindfulness during eating? Thank you with respect and gratitude.
I read, I don't know whether you have family with Osho or Rajneesh. He says, whenever you go for celibacy, I mean you cut off the sexual misconduct or conduct, the next prompting thing is food. So therefore, when we are maintaining the celibacy, our tongue becomes very, very, very naughty. And that is why many monks are with diabetes. Eating like anything, they are going for food, the sweets, and you devotees also give so much of sweets to get more merits. And if you take more than 1/3 of the Sri Lankan monks, they are with this situation. And ultimately, too much of sugar ultimately make so much of chemical reactions, and the sex-related thoughts also increasing. So that is why it is being cut off 3 meals to 2 meals. But the dinner is the one we celebrate and eat as much as possible with the quality and kind of thing. And soon you go for all the other sex-arousing kind of dancing and all the kind of thing. And then very difficult to maintain the sexual misconduct or conduct. So therefore, bhojane mattanyuta. Bhojane mattanyuta means the amount to eat is a Buddha quality. It's a lifelong experiment. No one is efficient. So you have to understand how much we are other directed when we are eating, and whenever you try to be mindful in eating, and ultimately it becomes like an agony. Very difficult. So Mahasi Sayadaw says, whenever people come for residential retreat, especially old people, they start to feel the touch of the food, the color of the food, smell of the food, and eating and swallowing. And when it is happening, they develop negative feelings. They never eat enough. And ultimately they become weak. And therefore he admonished, please take your basic needs. Don't try to go too detailed, because this is very, very distracting thing next to the sex. So whenever you go for celibate life, if you do not know, and it is also not a simple task to understand the proper amount of food and what is the combination, very difficult. And the donor, the giver, have no any sense. So you must have the limitation, very difficult. So therefore, whenever you are to understand the proper amount of food is for the health, less or high is a sickness, disease. So it says, by overeating, may I not get sick. By undereating, may I not get sick. May I know the exact amount. So each and every time you are eating, there is a reflection. Patisankha yoniso, pindapatam patisevami. And there you can see the World Health Organization says, FAO says, we have enough food on the earth. But some people are eating like anything and throwing during the Christmas time and the New Year time, 90% of the people, they go to sleep without a meal, without a dinner. Not due to celibacy. They have nothing to eat. So the uneven distribution of food, we are not civilized. Humans are not civilized. They don't know. So whenever someone is asking, instead of 3 meals, take 2 meals, they argue. Why? What is the difference between, what is the impact of 2 meals or 3 meals of the mindfulness? If you are eating mindfulness, you can eat 5 meals, no problem. So that's the way they say. So therefore you have to impose yourself and understand, whenever you are feeding yourself, you are not in the subject. Whenever you try to be mindful, you see in each day how many sessions you can have, just like sitting meditation, walking meditation, each meal. And whenever you become a novice, there are 30 number of rules you have to observe by heart. Before going to outdoor, accepting a dana, be mindful. Because the lay people see, they are eating in front of people, monks and nuns. So you have to, by heart, this is the way I must eat. And before the Buddha, the Brahmana, they also entertain, and the Buddha have 5 critical terms. Whenever the Brahmanas are eating, they can't get up by themselves. Eating. So someone has to come and give the hand, and their shawl will fall down. And the droppings in both the sides of the mouth will be enough for a crow to have a meal. It's falling down because eating. So therefore they gave so much of instruction, but he says it's very, very dangerous. He says, if I am to come out with the 5th parajika, that means 4 parajikas available, that means irreversible damages. If I am to give the 5th parajika, that is unmindful eating. If I am to impose it, no one can be a monk. So it is in the commentary. Samyutta Nikaya commentary, it says, if at all I am to impose this parajika, no one can have this celibate life. So therefore it's a lifelong thing, so don't look at others. And then it will be you are developing unwanted defilements. And look at yourself and even be sympathetic, because whenever you give up this the celibacy, taken the celibacy, this is increasing. And many do not know. And therefore it's lifelong thing. Keep on practicing and you see it is camouflaging, it is other directing, and it is not diversifying, but it's a perversive. So if you can take it, don't rush into a quick results. Just keep on eating. Don't make it to eat less or high. When to stop eating is a very good sign, just like the sea, end of the out-breath. Just like observing the end of the out-breath, see the end of your eating. End of the meal, sorry.
This question is on the Dhamma talk. Dear Venerable Bhante, I felt very comfortable hearing today's talk. A sensation I am feeling in my body is exactly what Bhante was talking about. At last, I can learn to live away from the 6 animals called Salayatana. Much merits to you, Bhante, for excellent explanation.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Number 9 is on general Dhamma question related to meditation. Venerable Bhante Dhammajiva, mine is a Dhamma question. What is the role and place of metta in this path of practice? Thank you for the excellent exposition of the Dhamma.
So that is why I reminded Subha paramaham bhikkhave metta ceto vimutting vadami ida panyassa puggalo uttaring appade vijjantasa. Till you achieve the arahanthood, see only the love spots. Don't look at the bad side. Subha paramaham bhikkhave. And once you become arahanthood, that is also not necessary. So therefore, when you are living in a celibate life, when you are living in a meditative life, there are a lot of frictions, a lot of bitter taste, a lot of sour taste, a lot of astringent. But don't talk about that. Talking itself is promoting them. Try to see only the love spots. So have the glad game. Find a reason to be glad under any circumstances. So it is almost like achieve Nibbana. But the whole media, whole politics, whole subjects is to see bad side. So we love so much of tragedies. See amount of novels we have, see amount of pictures we have, majority are tragedies. We are very happy. We are happy to see other people are killing. We are happy to see serial killing. And if someone is going to show a picture with Dhammajiva sitting for 3 hours, and in 3 hours you see that picture, who is going to see? Do you think that you will get the box office? Or Nobel Prize? Bullshit. Because we are the people promoting the naughty things, so this is the world. So understand it and see the Subha Paramaha. When you sit comfortably and see. Am I sitting comfortably? Is it a matter for you to ask from the expert or ask from the Buddha? Nothing. And then see how many thought moments you can sit comfortably and understand I am sitting comfortable. You see the mind, the 6 animals are jumping here and there and they don't feel here the comfort because they are asking. So outside world picture is the inside my picture. So only see the love spots. Only see the better side, better part of it. And then, not that bad things are there, but you are not chasing them around, you are not entertaining them, you are not proliferating them. Don't talk. And avoid as much as that kind of people. They are talking about the negativity because we have no other answer. They are always talking, so best thing is to behave like a dumb person. Have a selective hearing, only for the good things.
This is the last question, Bhante. Dear Most Venerable Bhante, could you kindly explain, 1, what do you mean by start with beginner's mind and how to do it at every sitting, walking?
That means innocence. That means the simplicity. Don't assume anything. Yesterday it was good, yesterday it was bad, I have meditated for 3 hours or 3 days or 3 years, nothing. Just start from the scrap you have. So, Venerable Jnanarama used to say, start from the place given. Start from the what is available. Don't expect anything. Danna tanin patan ganna, thiyena tanin patan ganna. Don't think that I have no enough theoretical understanding, I must have this and that. No. Wherever it may be, you can start. So if you are innocent, if you maintain innocence, if you maintain simplicity, uncrooked situation, then the balance will be more assured towards the comfort.
The second part of the question is, Bhante, when Kamaraga forcefully comes into the mind and disturb meditation, what remedial action to be taken? May you be healthy and happy and attain Nibbana in this life itself.
So the 3 kind of training. Morally, you make a decision not to have sexual misconduct. So that is called transgressional level. So if you maintain it, you will be a civilized person according to the law and kind of thing. But this is the obsessional level. It is not transgressing, but your mind is obsessed. No one can see. So this is the point meditator is interested in. He is not only take care about not to transgress, but what is happening. So you can understand whenever the kamaraga is there, no hatred, no sleepiness. So when the kamaraga happens, two benefits. No hate. Hate and kamaraga can't live. And you will never fall asleep. So if you fall asleep, what you have to do? Put little kamaraga. No sleeping. Little bit, don't go for higher doses. Then it's go beyond the control. Or little bit of fear, a little bit of hate. So each and everything has some utility value. There's a very interesting sutta. The Buddha says, of course, maybe for an advancing yogi, when and where your mind is with kamaraga, and if you know my mind is with kamaraga, that indicates sakkhato dhammo. Dhamma is, you know exactly when it is happening, sanditthiko. That's the under the nose experience. When the kamaraga is there, you know kamaraga. It's just like when the breath is there, you know the breath. When the rising and falling there, you know the rising and falling. Likewise, when the kamaraga happens, you understand this is not dosa, it is not the hate, this is not the sleepiness, this is kamaraga. It's exactly like you know you are on the left leg and you know the left leg. You are on the right leg, you are on the right leg. So that is called sanditthika. Sanditthika means under your very nose. So kamaraga indicates, you know. But the thing is, moralists, they consider understanding or awareness of the kamaraga is bad. Then no go. But it may be true for the people, those who have not taken the moral precepts. But if you have your confidence about the moral precepts, the obsessional type of kamaraga, when it's happening, if you know it is not patiga, or it is not tinamidda, the hate and the sloth and tover, you can understand what happened to you, your chemical body, your physical body when the kamaraga happens. So you have to see it under your very nose, not by inferential, not by theory, not by the other person. So this is a kind of a theoretical answer. Otherwise, that Bharadwaja Sutta, it's a long story, but to make it short, the King Udena, it's a very hateful character. One day he sees a young monk, very beautiful, and it's a prime age, and he thinks, I have so much of queens and concubines in my harem, still I am sexy. This young monk, living in the forest, very happy. So, how that can happen? But he is not an ardent Buddhist, so he go and give some sweets and make that monk friendly. And one day asks, Bhante, when you are living in the forest, do you have any disturbance in the mind, something like desire and kind of thing? And ultimately bring you to the sex. Then that monk is telling, whenever such a thing happens, I consider, if it's an elderly kind of a woman, I consider as my mother. If it's the equal type, I consider as my sister. If it's a young, very young, I consider as my daughter, so I can manage. Then king is give a sarcastic smile and says, Bhante, very sorry to disturb you, young person. This won't help for the sex. Even you can have sex with your mother, your daughter, your sister. So I am very, very sorry to disturb you. Then the monk comes to understand this. King is not happy. Then he says, I'll tell you, this is what the youngest, least amount of kamaraga. So otherwise, if it is coming still, we put into the 32 factors of repulsivity, or awesome nature of repulsivity of the 32. What is that? That is to understand this is nothing but head hair, body hair, sinews and skin and all the kind of thing. Then again the king gave the same sarcastic joke, the smile. And he says, Bhante, I'm sorry, you try your best, but I doubt. Because even some people go and have sex with corpse. Go to the carnal ground and have cope. So it may not be aware of you. So if it is working for you, it's well and good. I am sorry to disturb you. Then again the monk comes to know that king is not happy. Then he says, this is for the medium kind of the feeling. If you know that you are always disturbed by the primary type and the medium type, you have to always be prepared. The Kama Raga can come. So if you prepared, you will never go to that side of thing. You may go for the secured zone, and that is the last. Then king is asking in detail, what do you mean by prepared? Because that this is the most clinging thing to the samsara. It is number of ages. The minimum thing you can consider it as a relative, the medium rate you can consider as a 32 part and repulsive. Otherwise, be careful, be aware. And king is telling that is somewhat practical, Bhante, because if I am to go to the harem, or to my, how do you call the harem, that to the, where the women are there? Women are there? Antapura. Harem. I never come back like a respect with the king because I get caught up to the female. But if I know I am king, I am going to the harem with all the banking and the perahara and all the kinds, I can go to it and come back like a king. Because I go prepared. And then king says that I have to try, I have never done it in the sex. So this sutta, Pandita Sayadaw give an explanation, whatever you do, it's a failure. Depends on the Kamaraga level. But if you know you are that kind of a tendency, you have kind of thing, best thing is to be aware, don't keep petrol together with fire. The petrol need no any contact, it can catch fire. So therefore, security, be aware. Be away from that kind of thing. Difficult. Because this is the main hook to the samsara. So it can happen in many perverted ways. So try your best, please.
Just for the information of the Westerners, Kamaraga is the sensual desire.
Sexual desire.
Sexual desire.
Okay, Sigmund Freud mentioned the sexual desire. The Buddha is a decent person. He mentioned sensuous desire.
That is the end of the written questions, Bhante. We have about 20 minutes to open to the verbal questions. So if anyone has any questions, please put up your hand. Harini, if you are ready, first there. No, just there, first one. Harini, the lady there. Right at the diagonally opposite to me.
Bhante, you spoke about the pendulum. We need to keep it in the middle. What does the pendulum represent?
Pendulum is your mind. So always going to the furthest, or the desire or hate. So always going to two sides. As far as you are pushing, as far as the winding is there, it's going. It never stops at the level, middle. Middle is the indifference. Middle is the unshaking mind. It never stops. Unless otherwise stop winding, the energy. Then it's come and rest. The mind is, untrained mind is like a swinging pendulum.
So that's what we are doing here now anyway, isn't it, Bhante?
What do you mean?
To keep it in the middle.
You have to say in singular term and plural.
Oh, now we have come to this retreat, and that's what we have been trying to do.
So you have to say, I am trying, you can say we. Very dangerous. How do you know whether others are in the same?
Everybody in their own way, Bhante.
That's all. Therefore you can say that is what I do, then I will say yes.
Yes, I have been trying very hard, Bhante.
Good. That must be the aim.
Harini, Chris.
Is it turned on? Yeah. Bhante, I just wanted to speak about loving kindness, metta, from that question that came up. When you said a couple of days ago that the most profound thing you could do, the most profound expression of loving kindness you can have in the practice of Dhamma is to be comfortable with your body, it hit me like a ton of bricks. I've always had stress and tension in meditation, and I find that not only stress and tension, but it's a bit more. I'm a little bit more internally. I have a lot of like Kundalini Shakti. Have had for 30, 40 years. For people who don't know what that means, there's a lot of energy flows in the body, and it's related to a lot of what people are talking about with jerking and all of that sort of stuff. Although my fireworks tend to be a bit more intense than that. But what I found is that bringing up practicing a metta towards myself in the presence of those energy flows, especially at the end of the inhalation, at the end of the exhalation, that's when the fireworks and the energy start to really go strong and hard and explode and have interesting experiences, etc. The loving kindness almost seems to gather and contain that energy and slow it down and bring it to a state of gentleness and equilibrium. So thank you very much for that, because it really focused my attention on giving me a way of having a container for this crazy energy that I've been struggling with for decades in meditation. And I wanted to just draw people's attention for those, especially those people here who are young meditators, relating to this idea of loving kindness being rooted in the body. And it's a little bit what Ajahn Brahm talks about when he talks about kindfulness. But I wanted to make a reference for those people who may be interested, especially young meditators, about establishing loving kindness in the body through... Ajahn Brahm talks about just creating a smile on the face. And he's been talking about this for quite some years, and it works. But what I want to say to you is that if you go to YouTube and you plug in the vagus nerve and you have a look under YouTube under the term the vagus nerve, you will see 4 or 5 videos which substantiate in a fair degree of entertaining psychological and physical information, short videos of 5 minutes as to why that smiling thing works and how it can actually establish loving kindness rooted in the body just by actually stimulating that smiling position. It has a profound effect. I've found it having a profound effect in the ways that I've just described. YouTube, the vagus nerve, Keltner, Dasha Keltner in particular. But there's 4 or 5 videos there, and it really backs up what you said 2 days ago really, really well. Thanks, Bhante. That's all I wanted to say.
Yeah, that the society at large, your loving kindness to yourself and outside. Meanwhile, whenever we are meditating like a group, samagganan taposuko. As far as we are peaceful, then each and everyone's meditation going up. If we are finding fault with each other, if we find no sympathy to each other as a meditation group, no meditation can take place. So therefore, we have to have a society at large, as this group, we have to understand as a family member. Upandita Sayadaw used to say, if he is doing a mistake, I can't kill him because he's my brother. I can't decast him. I have to correct him. So therefore, look at the mistake as my mistake. And take a proper chance and time and say, you may be knowing or not knowing, this is a mistake. Then he will ask, I do know, that I am irritated. But not at that time I am talking in the proper time. Like the samagganan taposuko is a kind of a charming thing. if we can look at the other mistakes, but not to kick them off or not to outcast him, and sympathize it. First you have to sympathize yourself, and then we feel like more than family members. We feel like a coherent group because of the loving kindness. And this loving kindness is a charming thing, and Pandita Sayadaw used to say a super glue. It's a super glue. But it has a perversion, sex. Sex can appear as a loving kindness, and it's a perversion. Karuna, the hate. And therefore each and every character, if you read the Vanchanika Dhamma, and you can understand, but mindfulness, no Vanchanika Dhamma. So all the others, there is a kind of a danger. If you know the limitation, yes, you can do. So these things are very, very innate things. So beginners know much of a necessity to go into such detail, but everything is integrated when the Buddha is preaching, everything is there. So whenever we sit together, maybe residential retreat, and whenever one is meditating, it is for the benefit of everyone. When everyone is peaceful here, it is really a booster for individual. And even the non-meditator can feel it. The children can feel it. Trees can feel it. Animals can feel it. When everyone is doing, so that is why it says the rising and appearance of the Buddha is a blessing. And meditation is a blessing. So outwardly what you can see is we are sympathizing each other, mutually understanding each other. That is the we call metta kaya karma. And metta vachi karma is good words. And metta mano karma is you mindful, at your mind you are embracing anything. Subha paramaha. So it manifests in three ways.
It's interesting, Bhante. It's interesting, Bhante, that the prerequisite for learning new things in life is that we feel safe. This is just straight neurology, physiology. Safety, satisfaction, connection, three basic needs, and they're almost hierarchical. So the practice of loving kindness creates the environment of safety, which sets the conditions up for new learning within us and between us.
So magnetizing, it is called, the magnetic is kanta, ayaskanta. It is some kind of a law of attraction. It's happening.
I just want to say something about that matter turning into energy. About 4 years, sorry. Yeah, the topic that Bhante was describing, matter turning into energy, about 4 years ago someone published in the YouTube something called holographic universe in 5 parts. Actually I watched it, and it is very informative, and scientifically they show us how energy is converting into matter by directing consciousness into it. If someone wants to see it, the name is holographic universe, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And also, Bhante, I have a question about the same topic.
So, speak to the mic.
I have a question about the same topic, Bhante. And
switch it off and switch it on again.
it's on.
No, switch it off.
So tap it and see,
Yeah.
and keep it in this direction. Yes.
Right. Sorry. Bhante, about matter turning into energy, that I just heard that cause and effect relationship can be understood by the same thing. Can you please explain a little bit more on that?
So when you are opening the eyes in the early morning, before it was just energy, now it become a matter. When you go to sleep means You are no more matter, you become just energy. So it is the way, it is nothing of, it need no any kind of self, it need no any kind of thing. This is the way it happens. So each time when you are changing from in-breath to out-breath, everything dissolves into no matter, but our mind is hating to see it. So we can't see, unless otherwise you go and main. And the moment you see the gap, you are not there. Conceit is not there. Desire is not there, so it is not so rare. But the thing is, we hate it. We don't like it. We don't. We have no geared into that. So how much difficult for you to see the end of the out-breath, and there are no energy. It is only energy.
So Bhante, when the emptiness is felt, there's no tanha ditthi mana in that.
You have to check. Just go into that and see whether there is any kind of likings and disliking. If any liking and disliking, that indicates you are not enlightened yet. So when the Buddha is explaining in the Anija Sappaya Sutta, with neither perception nor perception, at the stage Venerable Ananda is asking, Bhante, is this the primate or immediate cause for the Nibbana to happen? Whenever you go to that state, are you sure? The Buddha says no. Because you may have some liking for that state as an achievement. Still you are bound. So have completely achieved and have indifference, even for your achievement. So it is little beyond humanity.
Is that the ruchi, aruchi and prakalpa?
Likings and disliking.
Thank you, Bhante.
Hi, Bhante. I have a question. You were speaking about, in answering the question about the massage, limiting your attention to the tips of your fingers, and something about the healing relationship can be endless. So I'm trying to find my way a bit with the questions. My work is in mindfulness therapy, and it seems to me that when I'm in mindfulness and contained in my own body, that supports the other person to be in mindfulness with their own processes, and that there's something in the... It's important that I'm contained in my body, but there's also something in the relationship that's like Sangha, or there's something in that supports both people to be more present. I wonder if you could speak to that.
So this is the way you can use mindfulness for the therapy and healing. What about the mindfulness for prevention?
For prevention?
Prevention.
I don't understand.
The prevention is better than cure. Prevention is better than therapy.
So you mean just sidestepping just avoiding the whole thing?
No, you can start with therapy, you can start with healing, you can do this therapeutic thing, but that is a byproduct of mindfulness. The main thing is prevention. In simple, prevention is better than cure. Does this kind of a therapeutic thing leading to that kind of a prevention, or you are exploring therapeutic way the mistake of the other person? It's already in trouble. You can heal, and again you back to the same old livelihood, and again he can develop the same tension in the muscles. It won't give, it is a vicious cycle.
I guess I've heard stories of people who've gone very deep into meditation and then come out
going, if it is summoned by healing and therapy and kind of going, it's a completely different shifting of paradigm from therapeutic to prevention. No one think on that. That is the point where mindfulness gets blames, because it is only dealing with healing and therapy. That means business. That's called business Buddhism. But no problem. If you can convince the people, this you can see the on-the-spot physical plastic benefits, and that is the therapeutic. What about if you can put, with the help of these therapies and results, put into the prevention side? It's a complete revolutionary way of looking at mindfulness, so that you are giving a lasting answer to the person, and you are getting lasting answer to your question also.
I mean, I think that is the intention behind what I do.
No, I will say completely no. That is the whole 40 years I observed, that is not the intention. If that is the intention, soon you can understand it. By giving so much of therapy, where the end? It's good to start. Get to start that mindfulness is working on therapy and healing. But if you are not trying to give a radical kind of a reflection and to give, what about prevention?
I read Jack Cornfield's book, A Path with a Heart, and in it he speaks a lot about people who've gone very deeply into meditation, and then they've come into the world and they had certain unconscious patterns that
is there, otherwise Buddha won't talk. Buddha says that if you start with see the benefit in the worldly way, a therapeutic way, healing way, it's a hint, it is not the end. And with that, if you can put it into prevention, then you can understand the profundity of the Buddha, profundity of his teaching, and going against the grain. And that is the point where the health went wrong. Health science. In the health science, prevention is better than cure. But in the prevention is only talking in the family health or in the sanitation. Now it is being killed by the prevention, by the cure. So recently I had a discussion with the health ministry officials. Then I told, due to the improvement of the health situation, the prevention is gone. If you are doing prevention, they never consider it as a doctor's job. They are all the same qualification. The one Professor Dayanta, he came and Bhante told us that we curing people and healing people completely outlook the preventive part or hedakama. But we are also not doing our job. It is also run by the pharmaceutical industry. We are also being killed. No basic values of the health presently happening, because it is also being overshadowed by something. So in the Satipasala, I took a very firm decision. Give the technique to the children. They are not affected yet. They are not with the tension yet. They are not with the frustration. So just give mindfulness and see how it is working in the preventive way. And so therefore I get the blame telling that I am also using mindfulness in the society at large, and it, just like business Buddhism. So I try to keep my sharp understanding. Don't go for prevention, and if it is happening, it's a byproduct. Our main theme, our standardization must be mindfulness for prevention. So give a thought when you are doing, are you get healed? By healing, are you get healed? And that if that is the case, you must understand that prevention is the culture. It must be our livelihood. That must be we look into. If it is not changing, mindfulness, benefits of mindfulness are very, very limited, because it is limited to healing. But that was very helpful for me to understand the Western outlook of mindfulness. I am a completely traditional person from Sri Lanka. I am born Buddhist. There are no prevention, no healing, nothing in Sri Lanka. So therefore prevention is somewhat better. But later when you are refining, of course when Dhammajiva, so Australian monk, he at the beginning, 1977, he told me, this is the way mindfulness is going. Study the whole picture. and understand the prevention part, and don't neglect, don't look down the therapeutic. It gives the concrete, tangible results, but it's a byproduct.
I'm not sure if I understood that last bit, but you're saying it's good if I'm finding healings happening in me
within
as well?
yourself by doing. If you do, then I would say, you may not agree with me, be mindful and mind your own business. It appears like a little harsh.
I think maybe we're talking slightly cross purposes, but
that I am asking you to give that perspective. When it is happening, if you gain some kind of pleasure, whatever may be, how much you can use it for prevention, at least for yourself as a healer. Definitely you can do. You can see relationships, and when it is happening, your healing also will be very efficient, and you may find a shortcut rather than with a long cut.
Yeah, I guess working with adults who are already in a very confused state, then there's a certainly it's meant to be a shortcut to help them to settle and to come into to a much deeper place.
Yeah, so more and more you practice, you get the nervous system shortcuts in the neurons rather than going the long cycles. So that is what I say, be mindful and mind your own business.
But surely if both people are helped, that's a good thing.
So at the beginning, but later you can verify your healing. You can verify your benefits you are getting and use it for prevention. I do. For you. And then teach the other person, don't go for therapy. Once heal, mind your own business and be careful not to fall into the same trap and prevention way. That is very spiritual. That is very philosophical, not the physical touch. Yeah, it's very touchy. That is very touchy.
Then they can go off and they have mindfulness which they can use. Yeah, of course.
So that is the part I am emphasizing through this advertisement. You catch customer through therapy and give them the injection. They won't come back again.
Of course, yeah.
To give the prevention part, and then you have to be very, very, that is a very deep metta, very deep loving kindness, very deep kind of a lasting answer. So you will close your clinic very soon.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, now it is time, almost 5 minutes more at 9:35. So we are going to recite and we are going to share merits with all the seen and unseen beings and recite the stanzas. As you mentioned, you can follow the book, page number 36. Ettavata gammehi sambatang punya sampadang sabbi deva anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Ettavata gammehi sambatang punya sampadang sabbi bhuta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Ettavata gammehi sambatang punya sampadang sabbi sattanumodantu akasatta ca bummatta diva naga mahiddhika punyantang anumoditva chirang rakkantu sasanang. Akasatta ca bummatta diva naga mahiddhika punyantang anumoditva chirang rakkantu desanang. Akasatta ca bummatta diva naga mahiddhika punyantang anumoditva chirang rakkantu mang parang. Idang vo ñātiyenang hotu sukita hontu ñātayo. Idang vo ñātiyenang hotu sukita hontu ñātayo. Idang wo jnātīnaṃ hotu sukhitāh hontu jnātayo. Imina punya kammena māmi bāla samāgamo satang samāgamo hotu yāva nibbāna pattiyā. Imina punya kammena māmi bāla samāgamo satang samāgamo hotu yāva nibbāna pattiyā. Imina punya kammena māmi bāla samāgamo satang samāgamo hotu yāva nibbāna pattiyā. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.